Welcome to Startup Spokane, where hosts Steve Traben and Megan Halsey explore the excitement and momentum growing throughout Spokane's expanding startup community. Startup Spokane is a joint effort between Greater Spokane Incorporated's Startup Spokane, our friends at Well Dressed Walrus, and Spokane Talks Online. Now, here are your hosts, Steve and Megan.
Welcome to Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Online, your podcast home for everything startup and entrepreneurship related in the Spokane region. I'm your host, Steve Traben, and along with me, my co-host, Megan Halsey, here to bring you information about our region's story of entrepreneurship. Startup Spokane is a program of Greater Spokane Incorporated, and we're here to provide you with not only our region's story, but here to educate you about the resources that exist in our region's ecosystem. We want to share ways for you to plug in and to connect to those resources so that if you're launching or growing a business, you have what you need to be successful. We're building an ecosystem not only that's attractive to our native entrepreneurs, but also to anyone else that's interested in making Spokane that great place to start and launch their business. Megan, let's start our day off with our guest. Why don't you introduce her?
Yeah, well, Steve, you know that we're coming up on what I think is one of our best and most exciting times of the year, and that's when all of the colleges and universities start announcing their business plan competitions. There's a lot of interesting energy and ideas that come out and percolate through this, and so what we're here to talk about today is we have guest Sinead Voorhees. She is the Director of Graduate Studies in Business at Whitworth University, but she's also the Acting Director of the Northwest Entrepreneur Competition. So Sinead, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Megan. Well, like Megan said, my name is Sinead Voorhees. I work full-time at Whitworth University, but as a fun little side hustle, I am the director of the Northwest Entrepreneur Competition, which has been just a really great privilege. I started last year. The competition is amazing. It's been around for almost 2 decades with multiple universities, new universities and colleges and high schools actually adding each year to the competition. And we're seeing it grow exponentially, which is really fun. And I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, and Sinead, you've been on loan from Whitworth University, and what a gracious donation of your time for them to have you sort of coordinating this program. And since you have been doing that, I think our competition has just really been taken to the next level. Last year was phenomenal. What's in store for this year? What's unique or different, or what's added on to it for this year?
Well, this year we're adding a new college. So North Idaho College is joining us this year, and we're hoping to add a few more in the coming years. Our grand prize has increased in each of our 3 categories. So now, students, you have an opportunity to win $10,000 if you win first prize in any of our 3 categories, which is really exciting. And community members, we are always looking for ways and ideas to include and engage you in this process. So similar to last year, we're going to do a pitch premiere night at Startup Spokane in February. On February 27th, to be exact, and we welcome people from all over the community to join us, and it's a fun little evening of drinks and merriment, reading executive summaries and watching pitch videos.
Great. So let's back it up a little bit and talk about who participates. Let's talk about what the categories are, so people can be thinking about if they are interested in participating, what category might I participate in? Can I be a high school student? Can I be a college student? Can I be a community member? Do you want to kind of take us through that? We'll kind of just take us through the logical progression of the whole event.
Sure. So this is a student startup event. So our main goal is to engage the students in the inland Northwest, and that goes all the way down to Moscow and the Palouse, hopefully spanning to the Cascades at some point as well. So eligible entrants are any and all college students, and this can be undergraduate students, this can be graduate students, this can be professional studies students in the School of Nursing, the School of Medicine, the School of Pharmacy, as well as high school students are allowed to level up into our competitions. So we don't have a specific category for high school students, but they've done quite well in our collegiate divisions, which is really impressive. And along with that, last year, one of the things that we realized is that we have such a great ecosystem here in Spokane of community members who would like to partner with students. So last year, we created a new open category, which allows community members to partner with students to submit their ideas into the Northwest Entrepreneur Competition. So with that, we do have 3 distinct categories. So we have 2 undergraduate categories, which is a Vistas Technology category and a Modern Business category. And those are for only undergraduate students and high school students. And then the open division, which is really exciting, is where community members can join, where anyone doing faculty-led research, if a professor would like to partner with a student, or anyone who is a graduate student in graduate schools of business, or like I said, School of Medicine, since that's exciting and starting in Spokane as well.
Great.
Well, that's really exciting. So can you tell us a little bit, the one thing that makes the NEC really unique is the fact that it's really a collaboration of a bunch of different colleges and universities who are working together. Can you tell us who some of those colleges are and if there are any restrictions on students who want to enter this program?
Sure. So one thing that you'll notice about business plan competitions generally is they're hosted by a single school. Very rarely along with that you see like states that'll host business plan competitions. Well, this has been a really unique startup in its own right, where the Inland Northwest identified that we have such a plethora of schools that we should really bind together and create our own business plan competition. And that's exactly what we did almost 2 decades ago. So it encompasses all the schools in Spokane. We have the community colleges of Spokane. We now have North Idaho College that has joined us this year. We have Whitworth University and Gonzaga University, 2 prominent private colleges. We have the University of Idaho, we have WSU, and we have Eastern.
Very exciting. So there's a lot of energy around that. Do you get representation from across all of those different organizations? We do. And what we're trying to do moving forward is work with the professors and work with the universities to really incorporate this competition into their curriculum. And you see that the universities who do that and the higher ed systems that do that are the ones that have the strongest contenders, that are the most prepared, that fare the best. We've had really strong representation from all those universities across the years.
And Sinead, you've done an incredible amount of research of other business plan competitions across the country to help us fine-tune the mechanics of how of what the expectations are. I mean, we call it a business plan competition, but let's talk about what's really being submitted by a student, and kind of let's start talking about the process, right?
Absolutely. So what's unique to ours is instead of just submitting an executive summary, which can be at times dry and is normally pretty short, we wanted to add a creative component to our competition, which makes ours very unique. So we have a 2-minute pitch video plus an executive summary as your first deadline as a competitor in the competition, and that's on February 23rd. And so the fun thing about that is we get to look at your writing and we get to see your logic in your executive summary, but we also get to see your creativity and we get to see your passion in your pitch video. The top 8 are selected from that round, who then go on to submit a business plan. And we say business plan, gosh, when I entered this 10 years ago, it was like a 25, 30-page laborious document. It's really 4 to 8 pages. We need you to be succinct, and we need you to be articulate in why this would be perhaps a business that would want to launch or we would want to invest in.
So this might be a great time to remind our listeners, too, that if they're interested in getting involved as a community member or a member of our ecosystem, that you guys are always looking for judges for that first phase, that executive summary and initial pitch video. We invite people in to come and take a look at those and screen and select the finalists who actually move on to the competition level. So that, you know, if someone wanted to get involved, Sinead, how would they do that?
There's 2 ways. We have a website, nwntrep.com, so ENTREP, the beginning of entrepreneur.com, and you can ask to be a judge, and that email goes straight to me. Or you can either email Megan or myself directly, or even Steve, and I can get you plugged into that pitch video night. And what's brilliant is it's a once-off. You come, you enjoy some beers, some wine, some pizza. We get to all feel excited about what the students are doing across Spokane, and then you're done. We just needed you for those 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a great way to get involved in a really easy level. And it's a great time to come and check out Startup Spokane because it's a fun place, too.
I know this firsthand.
And it's part of the narrowing process, right? So let's give our listeners some context for how many people generally participate in the business plan competition. of some stats.
So annually, we have about 100 students participate each year. So student teams can be comprised of up to 4 people. So sometimes we have solo entrants or teams of 4 to 5. And it's really, really fun. We try to increase our participation from especially universities that are starting entrepreneurial programs, who are trying to grow their curriculum in entrepreneurship. That's something that I'm really focusing on this year, because once we grow that curriculum, once students who come to Spokane know or learn about the resources available in Spokane, we find that students do this business plan competition maybe just as an academic exercise, and then people are genuinely interested in their idea. And so all of a sudden you have an e-tails or a Feller pump or a Vessel coffee coming up. And so it's a great way to just increase our ecosystem.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think this is, it's really evolved. I mean, what the competition 15 years ago started out really as an academic exercise, and today with the robust ecosystem that we have and with the likes of Startup Spokane that are here to help nurture ideas and take them to the next level, I mean, we're seeing some real results. And I know that after our break, when we come back, I want to talk about some of the success stories and some of the things that we can showcase and spotlight around that. I wonder, though, for just a minute, if we can talk what happens after the pitch or the pitch night, Sinead.
Yep. After the pitch night, we narrow all of the entrants down to the top 8 in each category. And they are notified by March 5th whether or not they are a finalist, and then they need to craft and hone that 4 to 8 pages.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break right here because it's a good segue, and we're going to come back and talk about what the final presentation day looks like that culminates in April, and talk about some of the previous successes and just talk about the exciting aspects of the Northwest Entrepreneur Competition. I'm Steve Traben. We're here with Sinead Voorhees and Megan Halsey, and we'll be right back on Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Online.
They say it takes a community to raise a family. It also takes one to build a business. I came to Spokane 12 years ago as a Whitworth student, and I planned to leave after graduation. But the more I got to know this community, the more I wanted to become a part of it. My husband and I have built our business in Spokane, and now we're raising our family here too. We operate a consulting company that provides creative business development strategies. Our approach is holistic and dependent on intentional connections and relationships. And no one understands connections and relationships better than GSI. They direct momentum towards investments in our community, provide resources that help business leaders connect, and they're dedicated and passionate about making Spokane great. GSI gives me the confidence to build my business here because they believe every organization, even a small one like mine, adds big value to our community. With GSI's help, Spokane will be a place my son will want to build his career too. I'm Eva Marquette, owner of Freshview. We're creating something greater with Greater Spokane Incorporated.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
Welcome back to Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Online, where we are talking to Sinead Voorhees, Director of the Northwest Entrepreneur Competition. Sinead, let's talk a little bit more about the competition specifics. When can students start submitting their applications for this?
Applications are already open. So we open them the 1st of December. You have almost 3 months to submit your pitch video and executive summary. But as any college student does, we normally get 75% of our submissions by midnight on the night it's due. Very typical.
Some things never change, right?
Yes, exactly.
And these are the submissions for, this is the video, the 2-minute video, and the executive summary,
Yes.
right? And before we went to break, you talked kind of about what that process looks like, how we narrow the field down to 8 finalists in each of the 3 categories, the technical category, the open category, and the modern business category. So Then they have how much time to get their 8 to 10 page business plan together? And let's talk about the rest of the timeline.
Sure. So they submit their pitch video and executive summary by February 23rd, and by March 23rd is when their business plan is due. So at that point, realistically, if a student is pitching or submitting an executive summary and a pitch video, their business plan should be roughed in already. The nice thing about our competition is we like to give students feedback every step of the way. So after that pitch video, they submitted on the 23rd. We have 30 or 40 community members review it on the 27th. By March 5th, a very quick turnaround, we get them feedback and say, here's what our judges tell you. This is where you might pivot. This is a weak spot that you should consider. And at that point, if it all goes to plan, and they are doing this as a part of a classroom experience and curriculum, they then take a document they've probably already drafted and tweak it to make it better, and they refine it for a final submission on March 23rd.
Yeah, so the feedback loop, I think, is really powerful, right?
Sure.
Because I was actually going to ask you the question. I mean, do these students get any coaching in
Yes.
between? And so this feedback mechanism, it seems really unique. I don't know that
Yeah.
I hear a lot of that happening in traditional business plan competitions, and I know it's new for us. I mean,
Yes.
we didn't do that 15 years ago. So what a great way to actually it really almost transforms from an academic exercise to something that could potentially become a reality, right?
Absolutely. And that was some of the feedback we received a couple years ago when I took over, is that students want to learn,
Right.
and, they're competitive. They want to win. So how do I win? Help me through this.
So March gets here. They, right?
They submit.
They
And-
submit, and then what?
Yeah. And at that point, they already know they're one of the 8 finalists. So they are gearing up. They submit their plan. And on April 17th, they'd all descend on Whitworth University. They spend 5 hours. And they are at the university. It goes from noon to 5. It's just the entire day, including a judge's luncheon to begin with, then student pitches. Each one is given a time slot and a room number, and it is like a rapid fire, I don't want to say Shark Tank, but a rapid fire pitch where they give all the reasons you should invest and believe in my business.
In a very short amount of time, right? Like 10 minutes, I think.
10 minutes.
10-minute pitch, 5-minute questions from judges, and then we transit 5
and then a
minutes to transition.
2-minute transition.
Yep.
Yes.
So they all go through. We have different judges in the
Yes.
final, right? And they deliberate after all 8.
Yes. So we have our pitch video judges, which, like we said, come one, come all, just have a drink, have a slice of pizza, enjoy it with us. And then we have finalist judges. And those are the judges that read the business plans once we give them the top 8. So they've read a business plan by the time they're listening to a student pitch their idea. And then the student essentially has to close the deal. Sell us. Why you, and why can you take us there? So it's really exciting.
So I'd love to hear a little bit more about some of the successes that for these businesses. They're just plans at that point, but have any of them actually gone on and turned that into a real business?
Yes. You know what is brilliant about when I got involved in this competition is I started doing some research. Well, how have we been doing? I'm an academic at heart. And since 2009, we have successfully launched a business from the business plan competition. And that's pretty
amazing.
That's
Every
pretty
year.
amazing.
Wow.
Every year.
It's amazing given the fact that it starts out as an academic exercise, right? And then actually transforms into, hey, I think I might have something. And it doesn't hurt that they're winning cash prizes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think that says a lot about the ecosystem and the support network that's around the NEC and the colleges themselves, that these businesses feel that, or these students feel like they have the support needed to forge ahead and actually create a business. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of those businesses and what kind of statistics you've seen from those?
Absolutely. Well, I think the most widely known is eTails, and they came through the competition in 2009 and kind of started our up and to the right trajectory that our that the NEC has had. We had Photobox. We've had last year's winner, Style Her Empowered.
Yeah, that was a really exciting one.
Absolutely. She's actually doing it. She is in Africa. She is working with these communities, everything that her business plan said.
Yep. And I'd like to throw in my recollection is Safeguard,
Yeah.
the 3 young men from University of Idaho who not only won the competition this particular competition, but they went on to win additional money in Boise. And we should mention, I mean, WSU and U of I both have their own business plan competitions for students, you know, in their university. So there's really an opportunity for these young people to actually raise capital through winning business plan competitions,
And I'm
right?
going to throw out kind of another sideline note, but these business plan competitions really can work together in a lot of ways, because right now UW is having their Burke prototype funding. So if you declare an intent to enter one of the UW business plan competitions, there's a second opportunity to win funding to get your prototype built. And that could benefit a student who's competing in the NEC as well, because they don't have to be a student at UW. They've thrown open their doors to any college student in the state of Washington. So I think there's lots of opportunity for our students to be getting ahead and becoming entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. I mean, if a student was very ambitious and very organized, there is a multitude of business plan competitions that they could enter. From that, they could take that money. They could try and get in front of some of our investors. We've seen our students invest in front of the Spokane Angel Alliance. And it's amazing to see them come up there and to see the evolution of their idea through the nurturing the Spokane community and both of you and your programs that you've started. And then all of a sudden they get kind of some heavy hitting investors and people who want to truly see this come to fruition. And then they can go through a number of channels and avenues that actually Startup Spokane has initiated, because what we do see is students win, all of a sudden they're energized. Oh, all of a sudden people really like my idea. What now? And you've actually answered that for us, so thank you.
Well, this is really about taking you're the idea flow, right? So you're the pipeline for new ideas and innovative technologies and solutions in our region with the competition. And then Startup Spokane wants to take those ideas, nurture them, help refine them, and get them to an actual launch and hopefully growth, right? I mean, the e-tails story is a fabulous one. I mean, they started with the business plan competition, they raised money. They refined. They've grown to 200 employees. They had a major they were acquired for over $100 million. It's a great story. And there are more of those stories being written every day now in our region. And thanks in great part to the Northwest Entrepreneur Competition and the work that you're doing, and obviously the work that Megan's doing with Startup Spokane.
The follow-up. I mean, we've tracked that we've had our combination of NEC winners has generated $165 million in revenue and currently employ over 245 people in the Inland Northwest.
Yeah, that's amazing. So let's go back and just kind of recap what the prize money looks like. Because if I'm a student, you know, this sounds like a lot. It sounds like fun, sounds like a lot of work, but what's in it for me? And it may not just be cash prizes. Kind of talk through what's there for me.
So I think first and foremost, what normally draws students is the $10,000 grand prize. And we do have a second and third. So if you don't win the 10 grand, you still can walk away with a little bit of money. But I think more powerful is the exposure that you truly get with your business idea. So these judges that we have in front of you are actual people either in the field, actual investors, professors who are experts in the field as well. And they can take your idea to the next level. Along with that, we work on in-kind donations as well. People who say, well, I would just like to help you because you're a student, you want to learn, we think this will benefit Spokane. And so along with cash prizes and exposure, they can also get professional services as well.
Yeah, that's exciting. And one of the prizes that we've historically offered is some workspace at Startup Spokane as well. And so that's been a really great place to see those students who are finishing in the top 3 in each category come in and share their ideas and get some feedback and try to figure out how to refine those ideas to make those realistic.
So Sinead, in the couple of minutes we have remaining, let's remind people that might be interested in participating in this business plan competition. How do they connect? I mean, give them the website.
Yep. If you're a
contacts.
student and you want to submit, everything is on the website. It's a fully comprehensive website. That's at nwntrep.com.
So NWENTREP.com.
Yes. And then if you are a community member and you'd like to get involved in our pitch premiere night, that's on February 27th, email myself, Megan, or Steve. Or you can also ask to be a judge from the website. And that email goes directly to me as well. And we do look for about 30 to 40 community members.
Right. And I would say, just as a plug, I mean, Startup Spokane is promoting this on our website, startupspokane.com, in our weekly e-newsletter, on our Facebook page. So we're getting the word out. So if people are interested, there's a way for them to come in through any of those channels.
Absolutely. If they contact us, we certainly will put you in the right place, whether you're a student or a potential judge. We want to make sure that we're driving people to that website and getting the information out there.
And I also want to reiterate to the high school students that are listening, don't be worried that you're competing against college students, because last year we had a high school student took first place in one of the categories, right?
2 of them did, from River Point Academy.
Yeah.
And they're planning to re-enter this year. They said, why not? We have a new idea. We'll do it again.
So it's don't be intimidated by
the
by the opportunity.
high school students can really show up some of those college students in some cases.
It's exciting.
All right. So anything else that we want to talk about as we wrap this up with the Northwest Entrepreneur Competition? Sinead, any final comments?
Sure. I would just, an open call. If anyone has any opinions or ideas or ways for us to make it better and engage the community more, I'd love to hear it. So please feel free to email me with those ideas as well, because it's fun to engage.
Fantastic. Well, that's all the time we have today. So thanks for joining us at Startup Spokane Radio. Thank you again to Sinead for joining us today. It's been great talking about the NEC. We are hoping to share the story of entrepreneurship in the Inland Northwest, and hope that you'll join us for future Broaden podcasts, where we'll continue to bring you profiles of successful entrepreneurs, information about helpful resources, and so much more. Join us next time at Startup Spokane on Spokane Talks Online.
Startup Spokane is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is a joint effort between GSI's Startup Spokane, Well Dressed Walrus, and Spokane Talks Online. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. We wish you a great and profitable day.